WSIC.
Welcome to Your Brain Matters. Dr. Royer here with Nurse Amy from Royer Neuroscience. And you know what? Your brain does matter. And you know whose brain mattered last Sunday?
Big time, I know.
Big time.
Yep.
For Charlotte, for the whole city of Charlotte, his brain mattered.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it was big time that his brain was where it should be for the whole city of Charlotte. And we are glad that we were part of helping Charlotte
Yeah.
by helping this person's brain to work so well.
Yeah.
And who was that, Aim?
Kirk Cousins.
Yes, Kirk, the man. We love Kirk. Spent so many years with Kirk since he was at Michigan State. Great guy, great family. And he was able to pull it out, the win for the Falcons, if you don't know football. And that win for the Falcons opened up the door for the Panthers to get into the playoffs.
Unbelievable.
Isn't it crazy?
No one predicted that.
No.
But guess what? I had no idea who you were shouting out when you started that conversation.
Really?
Because Sunday was Doc's birthday.
Hey, whoa. Back off.
So
back
I
off.
thought you were leading into your own birthday celebration. I was like, yeah, his brain mattered.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
No. We don't need to bring that up, Amers.
No, we do, because it just so happens we were going to talk about the aging brain today.
Shoot.
So we brought a specimen with us. So we got an old dude in the room today because Doc is 60.
I turned
Freaking
60.
60.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, we have to shorten the show because I can't stay
You can't
awake.
remember what's going on?
No, I can't stay awake that long. Oh my gosh.
But Doc had his birthday, and our kids were able to pull off a surprise
Yes.
party,
Yeah.
which was horrendously difficult to keep a secret. I have been telling the worst lies for like the last 6 weeks, and I'm really not a good liar. But we threw him off the scent pretty well,
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
say. And his shout out to his siblings who came from Georgia, Savannah, and Delaware,
Yeah, they drove in.
and surprised
crazy.
him.
It was fun.
Yeah, so amazing. So yeah, we'll get back to the aging brain, but we're
Ouch.
first going to go through what? The current events?
Yeah, let's go through a few things. So
Okay.
first of all, we hope you guys had a great Christmas. Happy New Year. No, that's not always the best time of year for some people, and we understand that, and that's why we are committed to working on the brain and helping people. But for those of you who did great, and it's time for us to hunker down, right? Like this week, all of a sudden, it's game on,
Yeah,
right?
big time.
And we're into 2026, and we want you to make this the year of the brain. How about that? The year of the brain.
Is there like an animal that goes with
I
that?
don't know, but
He
it wouldn't
just
be-
made it up.
Wait, let's say the year. This is the year. I always like even years because I was
Okay.
born in an even year.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
2026, the year of the brain.
The year of the. Let's make it.
Okay.
Okay,
Your brain
Right.
matters.
right for WSIC, the year of the brain.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
What was that? Okay, but hey, we
Love
want to
it.
highlight a few lectures and things that have gone on. I just had the opportunity to come back from High Point today, where we were meeting with their baseball team, talking to them about how their brain matters. Super exciting. And then yesterday was in Baltimore at Johns Hopkins University, which is really, really cool. Got to shout out to their cross-country men and women's team. It was great meeting with those 60-some students, and what a great university, great coach there, Coach Bobby. Next week, next Thursday, we're in Naples again.
Okay.
Went so well. We're back in Naples, 6:30 at the Courtyard by Marriott. Your Brain Matters, Reclaim Your Brain lecture. We also have a clinic that we work down there with people who have ALS and
Oh, yeah.
Parkinson's
Yep.
and dementia. We work with Dr. Prodromus, who runs that clinic. So that's why we're going down to Naples periodically, but we're doing these lectures along the way. And then this weekend, heading to Philadelphia, unfortunately.
Doc
It's
is
not
not
that
a
funny.
fan of the
This is
Eagles.
this is not that funny. So, we had you guys know, our our company works for Inner Armor, another company that I have works for, and Royer Neuroscience, the San Francisco 49ers. And had we won last week, we would have stayed in Santa Clara. But we have to play the Eagles this weekend, so I'll be going up to Philadelphia to meet with the team on Saturday. So hopefully we
Okay.
get a win there. A few things that we have, we really want to encourage you to think about getting the book Forge Your Inner Armor. Forge Your Inner Armor. Great read for you going into this 2026, the year of the brain, that we want to forge your inner armor. The best way to get that is at 616-341-2299. Just text us if you'd like a copy of that book. We'll get you that book. Great book. I love Forge Your Inner Armor. Of course, I wrote it, so maybe I'm a little biased.
I think you are. But I think it's a great foundation to everything we talk about on the program because, like, even you're just talking about speaking to athletics and speaking to people in Naples. Basically, what you're doing with the book is giving the backstory as to why we're doing any of what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because especially with athletics, you look and you think, oh, you need a certain build. You need to get your kids in sports when they're 10 years old, or they'll never make it into college sports, or there's all these thoughts. But
Right.
people forget, like, it's all stemming off the brain to begin with, and there's just so many times where we run into athletes that they have all the training, they have all the physical pieces that they need, but the mental piece
missing.
is,
Yeah.
yes, and it's holding them back from
Right.
getting to their potential. And so it's really fun when we go in and talk to these coaches because we're basically telling them, hey, there's another gear here that you guys, I know you spend money on this, this, and this, but you aren't even aware of this other gear.
And with that, let's do our quote of the day. Okay?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So today we're gonna talk about, this quote is from Mac Jones, who is the backup quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. And the San Francisco 49ers would not be where they are today if it wasn't for Mac's unbelievable performance when he had to back up Brock for 8 games. Incredible work. Former first-round pick. This is what he has to say.
Okay, yeah, Brock was incredible. I mean, Mac was incredible in those games. He just stepped in and they won those games and they probably weren't expected to. So, anyway, here's Mac on his brain. Your brain matters because it's the CEO of your body. You can control and regulate your feelings, movements, and ultimately your life once you master the power of understanding your brain. Like a muscle, I believe your brain can be trained to become stronger, more resilient, and eventually unbreakable. The craziest part of it all is everyone is so different, and the techniques and training to build an unbreakable mindset vary from person to person. Learn what works for you.
Let's go, Mac.
Yeah, that's super
Love
solid.
it.
Yep.
Let's go.
Yep, and he's speaking from experience.
Yeah.
Discover what your brain's been trying to tell you. Your Brain Matters with Dr. Tim Royer will be right back. WSIC. Local starts here.
Well, we're a little cooler, but it's still mild. It's still warm, in fact, for January standards. Partly cloudy. We're in the upper 60s for our Thursday afternoon. We'll drop off into the 50s overnight. And we're back to around 70 with some increasing clouds for our Friday. A shower possible late, but our best opportunity for rain comes up on Saturday. Scattered showers, maybe a rumble of thunder, then a big cool down for a while by Sunday. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Harrison's knows the work doesn't stop just because the temperatures drop. Load up on the warmest workwear and toughest work boots from Ariat, Carhartt, Brunt, and more. Harrison's will keep you working warm all winter long. Come see us in Mooresville or harrisonsusa.com.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. The 500 Club in Statesville is ready to show you a great time with memberships, tea times, the Victory Lane Sports Bar and Grill, and golf lessons. Dial 704-872-9990 to enjoy all the fun that the 500 Club has to offer. Bin 110 in Cornelius presents live music along with their drinks and eats for a fun night out in Lake Norman. Visit bin110.com for the live music schedule, their bourbons, whiskeys, and cocktails, as well as their food menu. Petty Rewind is playing at the Kane Center for the Arts in Cornelius on Friday, January 9th. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. while showtime is 7:30 for a night of iconic Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers songs. Visit kanearts.org for tickets to Petty Rewind and for a full schedule of upcoming shows at the Kane Center. On Saturday, January 10th, the National Charity League Lake Norman holds a fashion show fundraiser at Charles Mack Citizen Center in Mooresville. An evening of intrigue masquerade fashion show celebrates community, purpose, and the class of 2027. Check out the NCL Lake Norman Fashion Show fundraiser Facebook event page for ticket information. Get behind the wheel and drive a NASCAR race car at Charlotte Motor Speedway by yourself. If you don't want to drive, go for a NASCAR ride-along. The NASCAR racing experience is as real as it gets. There's no lead car to follow and no instructor rides with you when you drive. Visit charlottemotorspeedway.com to book your NASCAR racing experience. From everyone here at WSIC Radio and Lake Norman Woman Magazine, we wish you all a happy new year and a strong start to 2026. Stay up to date and find out about local events, job opportunities, real estate information, and more. Visit liveworkplaylkn.com and sign up for the weekly newsletter. That's liveworkplaylkn.com.
We're back with more of what your brain's been craving: balance, calm, and better thinking. Your Brain Matters with Dr. Tim Royer. WSIC Local starts here.
Welcome back. Dr. Royer here. Old Dr. Royer. At 60 years old.
Ooh.
Well, I don't know if I can make it through this whole
Old
show.
man in the
but
room.
Let's try it. Old man is here. Hey, we are excited about this Science Corner because we're going to talk about the aging brain. And guess what? Every brain is aging. You have aged 18 minutes since we started the show.
Yep.
And so the brain is changing all the time as we age. And we're going to talk about some of that today, right?
Yeah, we need to learn about it because otherwise it would be depressing because, like, if you don't know about it, then you're just going to think, like, it's just all downhill from here,
Right.
right? And that's
Exactly.
not really what it is.
Right. And whatever that from here is for you, is
Yeah.
that 30, 40, 50, 60,
Right.
70, 80, who knows? But we work with brains from 4 years old to 94 years old. And
They're all aging.
they're all aging, right? And in different ways. So we want to give you some of the science behind this. And so a lot of times, boundaries and context decrease fear. Because people.
That's very good.
Did you like that?
Good concept.
Okay,
Yep.
gotcha. So it decreases fear, by knowing, the little bit of the reality and what's going on. And many times where the fear comes from the unknown, right? And so aging doesn't mean dementia, okay? It doesn't mean you can't thrive, you can't have great relationships. It's actually a time when you can contribute so much to people and to your family and all kinds of things. So we want to talk about the science behind it. And I'm going to just share briefly, when I was the division chief in the 90s at this large children's hospital, it wasn't so much me working with children, but because I work with the brain. And so there was another hospital down the road, St. Mary's Hospital, that had what's called a psych med unit. And a psych med unit is a unit where people are having a medical condition, but they also have psychiatric overlay. And so a lot of times you see that in elderly individuals when they're starting to have some type of cognitive decline, that they also have medical problems. And so they were calling me in to come in and evaluate these brains and work with the psych med unit there. And so it was a big shift for me, kids over
course.
to adults, or
Yes.
to older adults. But one of the things that was striking to me was how many times we would see somebody that would present that looked like they had Alzheimer's or dementia. I mean,
Yep.
it was just full blown,
Yes.
and, and maybe even early onset.
Yep.
And then I would assess their brain and I would find out this person doesn't have dementia. They actually are very depressed they're having a mood problem or a mood disorder, or their sleep is upside down,
Yeah.
or they have something like a UTI, and these things they look like something on the surface, but
Yep.
underneath the brain is telling us something else.
Yeah.
And we automatically think aging, this is what's going on. But what I would find out is when we would treat these other things, that these memory issues would actually improve. And I've seen that
It's
in the
crazy.
last 20 years multiple times where people will come into us and they'll actually have a sleep problem, but it comes off as, oh, something's going on with my memory. Is
Right.
this an aging problem? And so that was kind of where I want to start with this. It's not
Yeah.
always what you see downstream. You have to look upstream and don't just assume that's some part of aging.
Wow. Just even as you were talking, I'm realizing all 4 of our parents experienced something that would look like dementia, but then maybe was something else.
Absolutely.
So, like, for example, your stepdad presented with confusion and ended up being in an end stage cancer situation.
yes.
And that had to do with calcium that was going into his bloodstream. And then your mom actually was dementia, but she also had sleep issues, right?
Chronic history. She
Right.
started using sleep meds way too early, never addressed her sleep. And you have to wonder, well, I know scientifically that contributed to that.
Yeah. And then my mom, hers were UTI related.
Yes.
And I had never put that together. Even as a nurse, I didn't know. And then my dad, and his is a little bit Parkinson's related.
Right.
So his
And
cognitive
it presents
decline.
totally different.
So all 4
Right.
different.
Yeah. And so don't just assume you see a memory issue and that means that this is what's going on. You have to look upstream
Yep.
and you have to measure the brain because your brain matters. Your brain matters.
Yep. So, Doc's going to talk to us a little bit more about some of the imposters that are we think are dementia, but they might actually be something else. So, sleep was one,
Yeah.
obviously.
Depression.
Depression was
Depression's
another,
a big one. Yeah.
which is super surprising.
Social isolation, which can contribute to the depression.
Mm-hmm.
Shifting of careers or going from a career that's very, very intense, shifting into retirement that seems like a wonderful transition, but you have a body that's so dependent on the HPA axis, this cortisol overload,
Yes.
adrenaline, and all of a sudden you shut that down. That could be quite startling to the
Yep.
nervous system. So there's different things that go on there. There are some other things that are just a natural part of aging that we want to talk about. And one of that, we are experts on the brain, and so we're measuring the brain all the time, over 70,000 brains, and we're looking at EEGs in the brain. And so
Yep.
we did a longitudinal analysis of 10,000 brains across the lifespan.
Okay.
And what was interesting was there's these brain waves that allow us to recover, which are called theta waves. We've talked about that a little bit before. Thetas, if they're too high, are something that are related to an attention problem like
Mhm.
ADHD, which we'll do down the road here. But things about when thetas are too low, these are the recovery brainwaves, they are the precursors to memory problems. So when we looked at everybody in buckets of 5 years, which was stunning, both male and female, the continual decline of these recovery brainwaves, these theta waves, which contribute to memory, but they also contribute to sleep, and they contribute to energy level. And you can see that over time. And what was very interesting in the study, just a little side note here, this will be a different topic, but when we were looking at men and women together, when women hit menopause
Mm-hmm.
in the 40s, all of a sudden there would be all this stress and this huge drop in theta. But once they got through that, all of a sudden we saw improvement in theta, and they were much better than the males
Okay.
in theta and in high beta, which was interesting. So our brain, the electrical activity changes, and you can map that out. So it's very important for us to always measure the thetas in the brain to know what's really going on with the aging brain. Yes, you might be 68, but your brain's thetas look like they're 55. Or like some of the other day, 55, but the thetas look like 85.
Yeah.
And so we have to be looking at those numbers.
Yeah, I've watched Doc unpack the brain EEG data, which is objective data, and sleep data, which is again objective data. It's not like if you're saying like I slept great or I slept poorly. It's data that is just objective. But I've seen Doc put those two things together and be able to basically, without even seeing a person, know what age they're
Yeah,
at or
yeah,
what age they're feeling like they're at.
yeah.
Because it could be a 65-year-old that is demonstrating like 85-year-old sleep and brain wave activity, and they feel like they're 85.
Absolutely. And that we were doing this large scale study for the Orlando Magic a number of years ago on looking at travel schedules and sleep for NBA athletes. And I did a big deep dive into sleep. And that's when I started to uncover some of this research that shows in polysomnograph, a study of 4,000 people over the lifespan, in sleep studies, how the brain's REM sleep changes, deep sleep changes, its number of wakenings change, and all these
Yep.
things are related to age. So, when you've got something that's measuring your Apple Watch or something, if it's not age normed, like you're really not getting a full understanding because a 10-year-old sleeps a lot different than a 60-year-old. And sometimes we can be sleeping as if we're an 80-year-old when we should really be sleeping like we're 55-year-old. So all this comes back to objective data, and
Yep.
that's really where we want to push you guys when we're talking about aging. Is just because you're a certain age chronologically doesn't mean you're in the same place cardiovascularly
Yep.
or neurologically or sleep-wise. You have to measure these things,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. And I think that our conventional medicine has not been interpreting it
No,
that way.
no.
But anything new, integrative, holistic, they're all going in that direction. So, like, you can do testing
Yes,
now,
yeah,
and they always talk to you about your chronological age and your biological age.
right.
And so that's a very current way of thinking that is, I think, making a ton of sense.
Absolutely.
Because I certainly don't want to find out that I am older than I'm supposed to be, and there's things then that we can do about that.
Yeah, it was interesting that one study where we listened to that individual who's like an expert in this
Mm-hmm.
talking about there's like 3 or 4 main variables that
Yep.
are just automatically age you
Yes.
on this. Here's my chronological, but here's my biological. And
Yep.
I think what was the first thing? Alcohol use.
Alcohol use, yes.
It
It
was
was.
amazing,
It was
and
stunning.
smoking, and it was just like these things that
Not
we sort.
moving.
Yeah, not moving.
Yep.
It was really amazing. Like, yes, this person's 62, but what they're looking like physiologically is 78, 79 because of choices.
Yep.
Literally choices that they're making that's impacting that.
Yeah. It really is something we have a bit of control over. I think most of the population thinks that they don't have any control over it. But I think everything that we're learning about aging and longevity is pointing to there are decisions that we make that have a direct impact on how well we are aging.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So we got to make good choices.
And get back to the data.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere. Dr. Tim Royer will be right back with more ways to make your brain work for you. Your Brain Matters on WSIC. Local starts here.
Well, we're a little cooler, but it's still mild. It's still warm. In fact, for January standards, partly cloudy. We're in the upper 60s for our Thursday afternoon. We'll drop off into the 50s overnight. And we're back to around 70 with some increasing clouds for our Friday. A shower possible late, but our best opportunity for rain comes up on Saturday. Scattered showers, maybe a rumble of thunder, then a big cool down for a while by Sunday. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Prioritizing your health is one of the best ways to take care of yourself. From routine visits to the joys of pregnancy to the illnesses that stop you in your tracks, Iredell Health System will be by your side. Learn more at iredellhealth.org.
Jay White here from Central Line Realty. We're right in the center of North Carolina, and we put you at the center of everything we do. If you're selling a home, buying a home, or adding doors to your rental portfolio, put the team at Central Line Realty to work for you. Go to centrallinerealty.com and let's get started.
This is Sheriff Darren Campbell with the Iredell County Sheriff's Office. Every day, scammers are targeting people right here in our community through phone calls, emails, and text messages, trying to steal your money, your personal information, and even your identity. If someone calls claiming to be from a government, a bank, or even law enforcement demanding money or personal details, stop and think. Legitimate organizations will never ask for gift cards, wire transfers, or your passwords over the phone or email. If something sounds too good to be true, it usually is. Hang up, don't click that link, and never share personal information with someone you don't trust. At the Iredell County Sheriff's Office, we're working to protect our community, and we're proud to partner with WSIC because local starts here, and keeping you informed keeps you safe. Stay alert, stay smart, and don't fall for a scam.
LKN Love Delivered. Show off your love for Lake Norman with unique lake apparel, home decor, and other gifts from LKN Local. Made by locals, for locals. They even hand deliver their quality products to select zip codes. Shop lkn-local.com today.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-433-3082. 800-433-3082. 800-433-3082. That's 800-433-3082.
We speak fluent Fix-It. House Doctors of Mooresville handles repairs, renovations, property maintenance, and more. Ceiling fans, shelves, full room makeovers. We have the experience, tools, and insured background check team to transform your space. 1-year guarantee ensures it's done right the first time. Visit housedoctors.com/Mooresville.
Friendly reminder, don't brake when you see the lake.
WSIC. Local starts here.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. The U.S. Supreme Court is poised to announce as soon as tomorrow the fate of most of President Trump's tariffs. And ahead of that, the number of businesses hoping to recoup their share of the billions of dollars in tariffs paid so far has swelled to more than 1,000. Companies spanning the global economy in industries including retail, automotive, aerospace, food, and medical supplies are suing for refunds should the High Court determine the president's tariffs overstepped his authority. Some good news for NVIDIA. Bloomberg is reporting China is planning to approve some imports of NVIDIA's H200 chips as soon as this quarter for select commercial use. Sources say Alibaba and ByteDance are among those interested, but the NVIDIA chip will be barred from the military, sensitive government agencies, critical infrastructure, and state-owned enterprises due to security concerns. Big tech stocks are dragging today as traders lock in profits after a strong rally in AI, while defense shares are jumping as President Trump signals plans to ramp up military spending. Erica Herskowitz, Bloomberg Radio.
The button pushing stops here.
WSIC. Local starts here.
We're back with more ways to understand the most powerful computer you'll ever own. Your brain. Your Brain Matters, hosted by Dr. Tim Royer, only on WSIC. Local starts here.
Welcome back to Your Brain Matters. This is our episode, one of probably many over the year, on aging and how that impacts the brain. And you know what? Your brain matters, doesn't it? It does matter. And every moment it matters. And as we age, your brain is changing. Your brain is always learning, always learning. And it's how do we leverage that during different stages of development when the brain is very young, when it goes through the teen years, when it goes through young adulthood and get into adulthood. How do we manage that, right?
Yeah, like for example, I feel like before I knew any of this stuff, but now I look back and I think there's things you decide when you're 20 that impact your
Isn't that crazy?
how well you age. There's things you do in your 30s, in your 40s. Now, if you bombed at all, there is still reason to make better choices because the body is always changing and always learning, like you're always saying.
Right.
So we still can get some of that back, but it'd be better if we knew ahead of time how to take care of our brain and made good choices from the get-go.
Yeah. And one of the things that we see a lot that gets impacted as we age is something called your vagus nerve. And that loses its tone, which impacts your ability to go into this parasympathetic or slow state. And that's some of the reasons why we see these declines in theta. But that's also some reasons why there may be issues with the heart as we get older, as that the intrinsic cardiac pacemaker declines in its efficiency. But there are some things we can be doing at any age to improve our overall functioning of our brain, our vagus nerve, our heart. And one of the first things is breathing.
Right.
And breathing correctly, not just breathing like a breathing app, but learning to breathe with kind of the Royer Neuroscience inner armor methodology, where we actually breathe using a breathing belt and measure what the heart's doing, is super, super important.
Yeah, Doc and I were at a conference, and we've been teaching breathing for 20, 25 years, and we preach it like as hardcore as we can, from the youngest to the oldest person. And there's a lot of reasons that we've looked up and why we've pushed breathing. But we were at a conference, and this lady is up there, and she's brilliant. And she's talking about this research that she just published in Nature. And so
Which
we know
Nature's
right.
I mean,
so
that's like serious publication.
We know it's awesome. But she's up there, she starts talking about how they did this study, and they had these elderly people breathing for 10 weeks.
Yeah.
And they demonstrated a decrease in the markers for Alzheimer's.
How in the world?
Right, like the tau
Proteins
thing,
and all the amyloid plaques.
amyloid, peptides or whatever, all these words were all decreased after 10 weeks of this kind of breathing that we've been teaching people to do. So we sat there and looked at each other like, we're really actually smart.
Yeah.
We're ahead of it.
Yeah. But it was so cool, right? Like,
oh, it was amazing.
When you think aging, dementia, those kind of things, you think, wow, there's no coming back. But these individuals were decreasing statistically significantly their biomarkers for this thing. And we have clients who have family histories of dementia. I mean, I have a family history of dementia.
Yes.
That are actively in our program, all to decrease the potential of getting that maybe genetic disease. And what are they working on? They're working on biofeedback, which is breathing and heart rate work, and they're working on neurofeedback.
Yeah, because those markers are the things that then impact the genetic expression.
Right.
So, like we talked about, I think last week, you can change your genetic expression from your lifestyle choices.
Right.
So, these people may carry those markers, but not express that characteristic. So it's really, really hopeful, because most people nowadays who find out they have those markers, you know, it's extremely traumatic and it's completely filled with fear. But this was hopeful.
Right, that you could actually reverse some of these aspects.
Right.
And then, you know, a couple other things just to give you listeners out there, because your brain does matter and you are getting older since we started this.
Yeah, 40
episode.
minutes now.
40 minutes.
Jeez.
You're getting older. Breathing, the three that we would say right out of the chute, apart from sleeping, breathing, movement.
Yes.
You've got to be moving.
Yeah.
You need to be moving. And that movement needs to coincide with what stage of development you are. If you're 70 and you're trying to do these crazy cardiovascular things and the heart isn't responding well to that, well, maybe you need to be thinking about that. And just getting out and getting steps is so, so important.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's huge. The movement is so important because it gets your blood flowing.
Yeah.
And then you get the positive impact of all the stuff that your blood is carrying with it to your different cells, but then also carrying the junk away.
True.
So you get the delivery and then you get the discard. You also, with movement, will get your lymphatic system going, which is hugely important for immune system, which when you're aging tends to be declining. So you can literally change those things. And then, of course, I'm going to mention nutrition.
Of course, there's no way we are getting through this episode without you bringing up nutrition.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you've gotten this far without bringing up
I was holding back. Yeah.
Typically, something about your gut tract and, but of course, we're on
You
nutrition.
have to regulate the pooping for
Yes.
sure. So if you are old yourself or taking care of someone old, you have to get that regularity going, and by use of fiber, especially.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be Metamucil pouring the powder in your drink. I mean, eat vegetables for heaven's sake. You know, just pound the vegetables
Heaven's sake.
and get all
Look
those
at you go.
nutrients in along with your fiber. But really think about it. When people age and their teeth get worse and their bite gets worse, they start eating junk.
Right.
They literally start eating all kinds of processed foods. And if you went to a nursing home and saw what the aging people are being fed, I mean, it generally is, whatever's easier for them to chew, and it's based on a lot of sweets. They love their cookies and their cakes, which I would hate to take away from them, but it's not great for brain function. Yeah. So nutrition would be big.
What couple things in the nutrition that we would look at?
Oh, for sure, blood sugar.
Okay.
It's just all blood sugar, because the swinging of the blood sugar is just really bad for the ability of the brain to make energy.
Right.
Right. So it's like giving a car just a really cruddy gas. It's not going to function well. So clean that up. Definitely, you would want to, another thing nutritionally is a lot of old people are aging, as any of us are aging. You start to have more and more prescription meds.
Yeah.
Like the docs are just like, okay, try this, try this, try this. So you get like a list of 12 meds. And you know what? Some of that stuff isn't working well together. Some of that stuff your kidneys cannot handle.
True.
You got to think about the aging body can't always metabolize everything well. So you really want to be careful what all meds you're putting into your aging body, because some of that might be a little detrimental to you.
And I've heard you talk before about protein and omega-3s.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of a lot of omega-3 and also vitamin D with K for aging, just to decrease inflammation. You also can do well with just, a tablespoon of MCT oil. So coconut oil just gives you like a very steady energy flow. And it can be really helpful to an aging brain.
Yeah, so when we're talking about omega-3, that's something you can actually measure. You can measure what your omega-3 index is.
Yep.
And so getting a measurement of that is super important. And why is that important? You're going to learn way more about this later when we interview an individual who's an expert in this. But it decreases your inflammation. And so as the body's getting older, it's more prone to inflammation. So we need to be thinking from a diet standpoint, how are we balancing out the nervous system and balancing out particularly the autonomic nervous system susceptibility to inflammation?
Yeah, yep. A lot of this is very simple, actionable items. Go on AI and ask what are the top 4 things I should do to help my brain with aging. It's going to say a lot of what we just said.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Yep.
So breathe,
Yes,
move,
yes,
and nutrition.
yes, sir.
Let's
go.
And let's grow.
Oh, no.
Take a breath. Let your brain reset. We'll be right back with Dr. Tim Royer on Your Brain Matters. WSIC Local starts here.
Well, we're a little cooler, but it's still mild. It's still warm. In fact, for January standards, partly cloudy. We're in the upper 60s for our Thursday afternoon. We'll drop off into the 50s overnight. And we're back to around 70 with some increasing clouds for our Friday. A shower possible late, but our best opportunity for rain comes up on Saturday. Scattered showers, maybe a rumble of thunder, then a big cool down for a while by Sunday. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. The 500 Club in Statesville is ready to show you a great time with memberships, tea times, the Victory Lane Sports Bar and Grill, and golf lessons. Dial 704-872-9990 to enjoy all the fun that the 500 Club has to offer. Bin 110 in Cornelius presents live music along with their drinks and eats for a fun night out in Lake Norman. Visit bin110.com for the live music schedule, their bourbons, whiskeys, and cocktails, as well as their food menu. Petty Rewind is playing at the Kane Center for the Arts in Cornelius on Friday, January 9th. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. while showtime is 7:30 for a night of iconic Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers songs. Visit kanearts.org for tickets to Petty Rewind and for a full schedule of upcoming shows at the Kane Center. On Saturday, January 10th, the National Charity League Lake Norman holds a fashion show fundraiser at Charles Mack Citizen Center in Mooresville. An evening of intrigue masquerade fashion show celebrates community, purpose, and the class of 2027. Check out the NCL Lake Norman Fashion Show fundraiser Facebook event page for ticket information. Get behind the wheel and drive a NASCAR race car at Charlotte Motor Speedway by yourself. If you don't want to drive, go for a NASCAR ride-along. The NASCAR racing experience is as real as it gets. There's no lead car to follow and no instructor rides with you when you drive. Visit charlottemotorspeedway.com to book your NASCAR racing experience. From everyone here at WSIC Radio and Lake Norman Woman Magazine, we wish you all a happy new year and a strong start to 2026. Stay up to date and find out about local events, job opportunities, real estate information, and more. Visit liveworkplaylkn.com and sign up for the weekly newsletter. That's liveworkplaylkn.com.
Hi, this is Bob McIntosh with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Since 1997, we have been committed to providing our clients with competent, caring, and experienced legal services. Learn more at McIntoshLawFirm.com.
Brain Science Made Simple. Your Brain Matters, hosted by Dr. Tim Royer, continues on WSIC. Local starts here.
Okay, welcome back. We're going to finish up our show today regarding the aging brain, and we have our aged...
Hey, stop it.
Our aged man in the room with us.
60 is like the new 30, isn't it, or something? I don't know.
I think so. Now,
but I'm getting kind of sleepy. I might not make it through the rest of this. I'm out.
You can do it.
You got it. You take us to the finish line.
All right. So I wanted to give you all a context of where Doc and I are and why we're so passionate about the aging process. Yeah. So Doc and I have been involved in all four of our parents' aging process. So it means more than just a little bit to us. It means a lot to us. So Tim's mom, she had full-blown dementia for many years.
Right.
His sister was the primary caregiver, and we just watched the absolute classic run of dementia in her body over an 11-year period, I think.
Yeah, maybe even more.
Really, really difficult. And that's kind of why we're talking today about this, is because when we watched all of that, we tried to think through, like, what are some things that maybe we could do differently? Because genetically, obviously, Tim is going to carry on her genes. Right. And just seeing choices that she made, maybe she didn't know about brain health, but that could have been detrimental to her brain aging. And then, his stepfather had cancer and died from that, so that would not apply to our aging brain discussion. But then we started caring for my mom and dad.
Yeah.
And my mom and dad are classic aging story, healthy couple. But as they started aging, the bodies just start kind of crumbling a little bit.
Right.
And the cognition was going along with that. So working with my mom and dad, I was trying to find those threads that could make a difference and could be positive for them. So we did a lot of the things that we talked about in this last segment. Yeah. In fact, my mom was riding a bike 5 days before she passed away because she knew that exercise was good and her body still knew how to do it. It was a three-wheeled bike, mind you. But I was riding along behind her and just watching her hair blow in the breeze and thinking like, oh, I'm so blessed to be able to do this with her. I wonder how many more times we'll go out. And then within 7 days, she passed away from heart failure. But so my mom had cognitive decline. We don't know exactly why, but my mom did have sleep issues for many, many years, and she was prescribed a lot of sleep medication.
Yes.
And she loved it because she slept like a rock. And she had no knowledge of brain health and the things that you and I talk about. So she probably used sleeping medications for 20, 25 years pretty heavily. I did get her weaned down on that when I was able to care for her, but I think the damage was there already. And but then my dad, he's another case, he has Parkinson's, and we're caring for him in his own home with nurses, and then I take shifts with him. But when he was getting his Parkinson's was impacting his swallow mechanism.
Right.
He got put on tube feeds. And this is just an example. But the tube feeding that was recommended was just the
Garbage.
standard tube feeding.
Junk.
And I looked at that and I was like, he's not eating that, because this man has not eaten crap his whole life. My mom fed him very, very well. Why would I give him the standard tube feeding, which is basically like McDonald's ground up into a formula? So we got him organic tube feeding.
Yeah, you work like a dog to
Yeah,
get it.
I fought with the insurance company, got the right kind of stuff that was, anti-inflammatory, organic in content, and also had additional things put in there that were really good for him. But I had to fight for that.
Right.
It's not just going to come easily.
Advocate.
Yep. So that's just a lot of stuff for context, as far as there are things you can do. Oh, and also my dad, I had to fight for him to be able to do physical therapy. That
Right.
just wasn't going to naturally happen, and we had to pay a little out of pocket because insurance wasn't covering it. But because of that being so important, that I was pushing that. And then we keep him on a schedule so that there's a sleep cycle. We're always pushing for that. And he does actually also practice the deep breathing.
Yeah.
Because, hey, if you're not breathing, you're not alive. So he's working still at 90.
Yeah, 90 years
Yep,
old.
on his deep breathing, and he knows how to do it. And the nurses work with him, and so we're still pushing on that. So the things we talk about today that you and I want to practice, I'm also pushing that in my 90-year-old dad.
Right. Yeah. And what was interesting last time we were up there, so Amy's just done some incredible work. Her parents wanted to be able to live in their home, but as they started to decline, that was going to get to be difficult. But she has developed this whole team of nurses that come into the home and actually have kind of been able to keep them in their home. And that's not the case for everybody. But that comes with it a lot of extra work. And it's something that we're very committed to, because that's what we've decided to do for our parents. But we know that there's a lot of you that are listening that are trying to care for aging parents or somebody with a significant disability. And it's not easy at all.
No.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
It's important that your brain matters when you're taking care of this person or people. And that's what something Amy and I the last few years have been like, hey, we have to, if we're going to be able to give to her parents, we need to be able to have our brains as strong as possible, taking care of our exercise, taking care of our sleep, and then helping them to do that. But it was interesting, last time I was up in Michigan seeing her dad, I had this, now this is kind of, I do this stuff all the time, right? I had this device that measures what the heart's doing. It's like an ECG, and it lets me see his vagus nerve. So the vagus nerve we're going to learn more about. But it was very interesting to see right in front of you, you could see that thing that's trying to regulate recovery was so fatigued. It wasn't working well. And it was like, this right in front of you. Yes, I see this 90-year-old man, but I can also see this vagus nerve that's out of balance, that's part of the aging process.
Right.
But we know we can strengthen that. That's what we do.
Yeah. Well, picture this. I leave Tim with my dad for a short time. I'm like, babe, can you watch my dad or hang out with my dad until I go to the store and come back?
Absolutely.
I come back, and my husband is strapping a puller strap on my 90-year-old dad, and
working around the tube,
around the G-tube and things. I'm like, what in the world? But actually, my dad really liked it.
He loved it.
Because he's a doctor, and so he understood things. But yeah, so that was really, really impactful to see that data, because hey, we're all breathing, right?
Yeah.
But Doc could put that strap on him, and it's going to tell Doc what his vagus nerve response looks like based off of his heart rate and his breathing.
Yeah.
And then he's going to put it on my dad, and you're literally going to see, based on objective data, what age my dad falls
Yes.
into. And it was completely accurate.
It was spot on. And then we started talking to Dad. Hey, Dad, we got to get the breathing exercises back and up and running, because one of the things that will kind of bring the vagus nerve back online is appropriate diaphragmatic breathing, which Dad started to do right there on the spot at 90 years of age, which was fascinating to see, that he
Yep.
can still make changes at 90, right?
Right. Right. And whenever we talk about this kind of conversation, there's so much fear about the aging, or like, my grandpa had dementia, my grandma had Alzheimer's, I don't want this. I'll do anything. If you say, I'll do anything, you need to start doing the breathing today.
Yeah.
And you need to chase your sleep. You have to. You have to be vigilant and find out how to relearn how to sleep, because those two things are probably the biggest, even more than nutrition and pooping.
Yes.
Which is hard for me to say. But it's true, and it's scientific. And so if you walk away with anything, it's got to be that you really, really got to take that bull by the two horns, breathing and sleep. And you got to rattle that cage.
Yes, definitely. So we have, as we kind of fade out of today's broadcast, I want to just mention that we wanted to highlight a couple that's been working with us that are in their 80s. And the husband and the wife have been doing training for close to 2 years now. And it is unbelievable how that their neurological age has declined by close to 20 years. Their cardiovascular age has declined by 15, 20 years. Their respiratory age, all these things, they are a certain chronological age. Yes, they were born on a certain day in a certain year, but they have been working so hard on their greatest asset that when you kind of analyze it and you look at it, you're like, this person has anti-aged their brain and their body, and it's all within reach.
Right. And they would say, well, it's like 30 minutes a day. It's shorter than, going
Watching
to
a TV show or
yes,
something, right?
watching a show. And so they're so inspirational in the fact that they just decided, and then their consistency
So
is
consistent.
there. And so we want to take that into the 2-minute drill.
Yeah.
And just encourage everybody to try to look at and think about what we talked about today, and like get a sleep cycle, like reserve 9 hours for sleep.
Yes.
Reserve 15 minutes to do a breathing practice. And then make better choices about your nutrition. What are you putting into that gas tank to fuel that beautiful brain? And move. Park your car in the furthest spot away from the store so you get a walk in and a walk out. Those kind of decisions, they make an impact.
Yes. Your brain matters at every age.